Listen closely because this may change the way you look at your life from this moment on. What if the thing upsetting you right now is not the truth of your life, but only a late picture of old thinking? What if the stress, the delay, the closed doors, the silence, the numbers, the problems, all of it is not the final story, but only the fading echo of thoughts you once believed and feelings you once repeated? Stay with me. This matters because if that is true, then your future does not have to bow down to what your eyes are showing you today. It means the scene around you is not a command, it is a shadow. It is not the judge, it is the mirror. And mirrors do not decide, they only reflect. So if you have been staring at your life and calling it fixed, if you have been letting present facts tell you what is possible, stop right there. Breathe, slow down. The picture can change, the story can turn, the life in front of you can shift in ways you cannot yet measure. But first, you must stop worshipping what is visible and start becoming loyal to what you choose inwardly. If you catch this idea fully, everything begins to move. And once it moves, it does not ask permission from the past. What you see around you right now is not the deepest truth about your life. Hear that clearly. Your money situation, your relationships, your body, your daily conditions, the exact shape of your present experience, these are not fresh announcements of who you are. They are delayed effects. They are the after image of thoughts once repeated, beliefs once accepted, assumptions once held long enough to harden into form. What stands before you now is like a photograph developed from an old moment. And the mistake that traps so many people is this. They look at that photograph and treat it like living truth, but it is not living truth. It is old inner content wearing the clothes of now. The deeper truth is what you keep alive in imagination. The deeper truth is the scene you return to when no one is watching, the inner story you whisper to yourself between waking and sleep, the feeling you rehearse in silence. That hidden conversation is not harmless, it is not passing, it is creative. The visible world follows the invisible one, and it always comes after, always with a delay. So if you want tomorrow to look different, you must stop letting today tell you how to feel. Do not ask today's picture for tomorrow's permission. Today's picture is not your prophet. It is your reporter. It can only tell you where your mind once lived. It cannot tell you where you are going unless you give it that power. Ignore your present reality, not because it does not exist, but because it does not deserve to rule your inner state. There is a huge difference. You are not being asked to deny facts. You are being asked to stop kneeling before them. Facts are not permanent kings. They are old assumptions made visible. They are past thoughts with physical weight. They are yesterday's inner climate turned into today's weather. And weather changes. So when the account shows a number you do not like, when the call does not come, when the body still looks the same, when the opportunity still seems missing, do not panic and do not give it your loyalty. Smile at it if you can, not the smile of escape, the smile of understanding. This is old movement finishing itself. This is the last sound of a door already closing. This is the final echo of a room you are no longer living in. Do not fight it. Do not feed it. Do not make it your identity. Simply refuse to let it shape how you think, feel, and expect. This is where power returns to you. The outer scene is loud, yes, sometimes harsh, sometimes convincing, but it has no creative authority unless you give it your focus mixed with feeling. And the moment you stop giving it that fuel, something new begins. Quietly at first, then steadily. Then in ways that become impossible to ignore. Just keep assuming that is the practice. Simple but not always easy. Not because it is complicated, but because the senses argue. They keep pointing at what is already visible and saying, this is real, this is final, this is what you have. And your inner answer must become calm and strong. This is old. This is fading. This is not my chosen state. Then you return to the vision again. You see yourself where you want to be, not where you seem to stand. You feel the ease of the wish already done. Not begging, not hoping, not trying to force a mood, just settling into the natural satisfaction of already having, already being, already receiving. Wake up and wear that state. Walk through the day from that state. Speak from it. Decide from it. Rest at night inside it. Let it become more normal to you than the evidence outside. And yes, at first the mind may resist. The senses may throw their case on the table: bills, delays, silence, old patterns. But you do not need to wrestle with every piece of evidence. You simply stop treating it as current truth. You remind yourself that the visible world is always one beat behind. The inner move happens first, the outer move follows. And the one who understands this stops asking the mirror to lead. The mirror never leads, it follows. Your outer world is the effect, your inner state is the cause. That order does not change. A tree is visible now, but it began unseen. A building stands in the light, but it once lived only as an idea. Every result arrives twice, first in the invisible, then in form. So what troubles you now is not your enemy. It is outdated material finishing its run. Like a ladder made weeks ago, it carries old news. The danger begins when you read that old ladder and react as if it were a fresh command. That is how people stay trapped. They keep giving emotional energy to what they say they want to leave. But they water the weed and then wonder why it grows. Attention is creative, feeling is fuel. What you repeatedly touch with emotion begins to expand in your experience whether you meant to choose it or not. This is why discipline matters. Not harsh discipline, not cold control. Inner direction, gentle mastery. The wise person does not let current trouble decide tomorrow's feeling. They pull attention away from the unwanted, not with fear, not with drama, but with quiet certainty, and place it on the unseen scene they have chosen. They know that what is being built now is built inwardly first. So they stop living as a reactor and start living as a creator. If you remember only one line, remember this: your focus is never passive, it is planting. Everything begins in the unseen world of thought, belief, and inward acceptance. Before any event shows itself, before any change can be touched, before any new condition becomes visible, it has already started in silence. The mind is soil. Every assumption is a seed. The feeling you attach to that assumption waters it. Persistence warms it. Repetition strengthens it. And seeds do not ask the world for permission to become what they contain. They grow by law. In the same way, your assumptions move toward form because that is their nature. The mistake many people make is judging life only by what can be seen right now. They forget that the visible part is late. It is the harvest, not the planting. Desire takes root the moment you inwardly accept it as yours. The instant you feel it as real inside, movement begins. This is why you must become careful with what you rehearse emotionally. The deeper mind does not sit there arguing with your thoughts. It does not stop and ask if your fears reasonable. It accepts what is impressed upon it with feeling and begins to build from there. Replay fear and fear takes root. Repeat failure and failure becomes familiar soil. Expect disappointment and disappointment starts growing before you see it. But listen carefully, you can plant differently at any moment. You can choose a better inner picture. You can choose a stronger emotional home. You can decide that your new life deserves new mental treatment. Do not dig up the seed because you do not yet see the harvest. This is where many people lose momentum. They choose a new inner state for a day, maybe two, maybe a week, and then they keep checking the ground in worry. They scan for proof, they measure time, they ask, is it working, is anything changing, where is the sign? But this posture of waiting creates more waiting because it is still the state of not having. The state is what matters, not the words alone, not the wish alone, the state. If you stand as someone still trying to receive, you keep broadcasting absence. So stop standing at the door of your own desire like a stranger asking to be invited in. Enter it inwardly. Become the version of you who already lives there. Ask yourself in honest detail, if this were already done, how would I think today? How would I carry my body? How would I speak in a room? How would I treat my time? How would I answer this message? How would I walk into this meeting? How would I speak to myself in the mirror? Then begin there, not later, now. This is not fake behavior. It is inner relocation. It is moving your consciousness from longing to ownership. And once the shift becomes natural, your actions begin to align without force. Your choices sharpen, your tone changes, your standards rise, your eyes stop searching for rescue and begin expecting alignment. There will be voices that try to drag you back to old limits. Some will come from others. Some will come from your own memory. They will sound practical. They will sound sensible. They will point to your history, your current numbers, your age, your failures, your delays, and they will offer all of it as proof that you should stay realistic. But understand what is happening. They are measuring your future with tools designed only to read the past. Of course, they cannot see what is forming in the invisible. Of course, they speak with certainty about what has already been. That is all the visible world can do. So do not waste energy arguing with every doubt. Do not enter long battles with every fearful thought. You do not silence these voices by winning a debate. You silence them by removing your belief from them. You turn away, quietly, completely. Your senses too will try to persuade you. They will show you images, numbers, delays, familiar patterns, and whisper, nothing has changed. But the senses are historians, not prophets. They report what has already developed from previous states. They do not announce what is forming now. That is why inner loyalty matters. When fear presents its case, do not sit in its courtroom. When doubt starts speaking, return to the chosen scene. When the world calls your vision foolish because it cannot yet be touched, bless the noise and return inwardly. A strong life is built by people who learn where not to place their attention. To live in the end means making your fulfilled desire your inner home, not a place you visit only when you feel inspired, not a daydream you touch for 3 minutes and then abandon when life gets loud. A home, the place you think from, the address your expectations come from, the atmosphere behind your choices. Most people keep their desire in the future. They talk about it with words like someday, eventually, one day, maybe soon, but that inner posture keeps the goal far away, because the state of moving toward is still the state of not yet there. The state of already being changes everything. Thinking toward the desire says, I hope this becomes mine. Thinking from the desire says, this is already part of my life. One creates distance, the other removes it. One keeps chasing, the other begins embodying, and embodiment changes the quality of your whole presence. Your attention stops leaking into lack. Your decisions begin matching what you have inwardly accepted. You no longer act like someone waiting to be chosen, waiting to be healed, waiting to be approved, waiting to be seen. You act from the quiet dignity of already holding what matters in consciousness. That shift is powerful. It may not always feel dramatic, but it is decisive. The world reads that new signal. Life responds to that settled identity, and little by little, then faster than expected, outer conditions start arranging themselves around the state you have consistently occupied within. When the outer world still shows old conditions, do not break your own momentum. When the money has not yet caught up, when the message has not yet arrived, when the body has not yet changed, when the door has not yet opened, remember the lag. A planted seed does not become false because the surface still looks empty. The unseen process is still a process. So remain calm, not with weak waiting, but with steady certainty. The calm of someone who understands law. Old conditions may hang around for a while. The shadow may remain even after the light has shifted. And this exact space, this in-between season, is where most people quit. Not because nothing was happening, not because the desire was too large, not because they were blocked from receiving. They quit because they let the leftover picture convince them that the inner move had failed. They looked at the shadow and forgot the light had already changed. Do not do that. Let the old scene pass without becoming emotionally involved. Stop trying to fix every appearance from the outside. Return inwardly again and again without frustration, without saying how much longer, without turning practice into pressure. Just return the way you return to breathing, naturally, steadily, faithfully. Persistence is not strain, it is loyalty. It is the quiet decision to remain in the chosen state until the visible world has no option but to catch up with the invisible decision you already made. As you persist, something deep begins to happen. The assumption stops feeling like an exercise and starts feeling like identity. The new inner story becomes more familiar than the old one. The feeling of fulfillment settles into you. You stop checking for signs every 5 minutes because you no longer need constant proof. You stop measuring progress only by what your eyes can confirm because your certainty has moved deeper than appearance. Then, often when you least expect it, life begins to bend. A call comes, a connection forms, an opportunity opens, an old issue loosens. A way appears that your logical mind could not have planned. And when it happens, it feels almost strange how natural it seems. Not magic in the dramatic sense, not random luck, More like inevitability finally becoming visible, like something that had already been true inwardly simply took its proper shape in the outer world. This is why your real power is not in reacting better to what you see. It is in choosing better what you assume. Yeah, your current reality is the echo of past inner states. You do not need to keep repeating them. You can step out of that pattern by changing the cause, not by fighting the effect. Ignore the echo. It is old sound. Choose the new state. Honor it. Return to it. Protect it. Feed it. Let it become sacred ground in your daily life. Because the outer must eventually mirror what the inner consistently sustains. And now take this even deeper. The real work is not done only in big emotional moments. It is done in small private moments all through the day. When you first wake up, when your mind is still soft and open, when you are brushing your teeth, when you are waiting in line, when the room is quiet, when something goes wrong, when someone ignores you, when a bill appears, when your plan gets delayed. These tiny moments matter because they reveal what state you return to automatically. That is where change must become real. When the old reaction rises, catch it. When the old story tries to start again, interrupt it. Not with fear, with awareness. Replace, redirect, return. If the old voice says, nothing is working, answer with calm certainty. Movement has already begun. If it says, you are still the same, answer, the old picture has not caught up yet. If it says, maybe this will never happen, answer, what is accepted inwardly is already on its way. These short inner corrections may seem small, but repeated consistently, they change the emotional climate of your whole being, and the emotional climate is what shapes the harvest. This is where many lives turn. Not because of one giant miracle, but because of 1,000 quiet moments where a person stops agreeing with limitation and starts agreeing with the reality they have chosen. There is also a kind of maturity required here. You must stop needing everyone else to understand your inner decision. Not everyone will understand the shift you are making. Some people only believe in what has already appeared. Some people can only respect results they can measure. Some people will call your faith foolish before they call it powerful. Let them. You are not building your life from their level of sight. You are building from your own inward conviction. This means you cannot keep placing your dream in the hands of outside approval. You cannot ask every doubtful person to confirm what the unseen is doing. Protect your inner world more carefully than that. Speak less when needed. Preserve energy. Let your life reveal what your mouth does not need to defend. There is strength in quiet certainty. There is power in not needing to explain every inner movement. Hold the vision with clean hands. Do not contaminate it with constant panic, oversharing, and emotional backtracking. If you fall out of the state, return. If you forget for an hour, return. If an entire day gets heavy, return. The return itself is part of the mastery. No drama, no self-punishment, no I ruined it, just return. Again, then again, then again. This is how the inner path becomes a highway instead of a trail. And what you repeatedly return to becomes home. Make sure home is chosen on purpose. And yes, add feeling, real feeling, not forced excitement, not loud performance, feeling that matches fulfillment, the kind of relief that says, it is done. The kind of gratitude that rises naturally when something has already become yours. The kind of self-respect that belongs to a person no longer begging life for scraps. Feel the peace of completion. Feel the steadiness of being supported. Feel the warmth of already being loved, already being enough, already being guided, already being provided for. Let those feelings become familiar. Let them visit often. Let them shape your body, your tone, your pace, your decisions. Because life does not simply respond to the words you repeat. It responds to the state you embody. Words without state are thin. State with feeling is force. And when that force becomes stable, your world begins reorganizing around it. Doors you used to chase begin opening. People respond differently. Ideas come clearer. Timing shifts. You feel less desperate because you are no longer trying to create from emptiness. You are expressing from inward fullness. That is a very different life. So if you want to move faster, do not only repeat a sentence, enter the emotional truth of the sentence. If you say, "It is already mine," then sit long enough in stillness to feel what that would actually mean. Let your nervous system learn the new normal. Let your heart stop practicing lack. Let your identity catch up with your declaration. From this moment, choose your state more carefully than ever before. When the outer world shouts, lower your attention and return inwardly. When delay appears, call it lag, not failure. When the old story reappears, call it residue, not destiny. When doubt knocks, do not hand it the keys. Keep moving from the end. Keep thinking from fulfillment. Keep treating the unseen as first and the visible as second. This is not passivity. It is not fantasy. It is direction. It is disciplined inner authorship. Your role is not to chase every result, beg every door, or tremble before every contradiction. Your role is to choose, accept, sustain, and remain. To become so inwardly loyal to the life you have claimed that the outer world eventually has no choice but to echo that loyalty back to you. So stay with the vision. Return to it in the morning. Return to it at noon. Return to it at night. Return when things look good. Return when they look opposite. Return until the new state feels more natural than the old one ever did. Because once your chosen state becomes natural, expression follows, reflection follows, life follows. And one day what once lived only as an inner certainty will stand before you in visible form, solid and undeniable. And you will realize that the turning point was not the day the world changed. It was the day you stopped asking the world for permission to believe.